Once upon a time, two friends joined forces to bring you the best in horror entertainment. Brian from the north, Tim from the south, each bringing their own unique perspective to the horror community. Movie reviews, Blu-ray releases, beer pairings, games, and more. Welcome to your new home for horror. This is Civil Gore.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the Civil Gore Podcast. Today is a special Minisode recap of Brian's recent vacation. I am out on vacation, and that has kind of thrown a little wrench in our recording plans, but we will be picking up with our Summer Slaycation next week. So this week we thought, rather than leave you empty-handed, we'll at least give you just a little taste of Civil Gore. And I'm going to let Brian take it away with his recap of his recent trip to Vegas.
Yes. Before we get into that real quick, I just want to mention we if you've followed our social media, you'll see we posted this, but I just wanted to mention it on air. A good friend of our show, David McHugh, who he's been such a loyal listener and contributor by sending us in so many questions over the years for our for anything. I mean, for just regular questions before even Fan Topic Foo was a thing, he would send us stuff. So he wrote actually he came up with a horror crossword puzzle book, which is awesome. It's just called Horror Movie Crossword Puzzles. You can get it on Amazon. If you follow it or just check our social media, I sent the link out. It's really good. It's got a ton of different ones, and it's like themed by things. Like he's got one anthology. He's got one based on Scream, and they're I'd say they're moderate to difficult. If you're a horror fan, they're probably probably the perfect skill level for you. They're not that. I mean, maybe it's like 20. Lines, I guess. What do you call a crossword puzzle? Like clue, like a clue.
Clue, yeah.
So it's like 20 clues, yeah. And there's even some word searches he put in there too. So it's a nice book, and it's a really great price point. It's $9.99 on Amazon. So definitely check that out if you like puzzles or horror movies. You just want to support a great fellow horror fan who's does a great job on the social media community with horror and he even was so gracious enough. Definitely was not a necessary thing he needed to do, but he felt he still threw us a little thank you in the dedication to the book, which I thought was really classy move and definitely well appreciated for Tim and I. I mean, that it's like we to us, we do this for fun, and we just hope people enjoy it. But to hear something like that just makes our day. The fact that someone took the time to put us a little thank you in their book for us. So. But yeah, so the reason why I wanted to go with my recap is Vegas. I know we tend to recap our vacations, but this one I'm not going to go into every single detail. I mean, this is not the Travel Channel. I did want to mention because of of course, some of the things I mentioned I was going to do, which was we both did my friends and I, we all did both escape rooms there that were horror themed, which was the SAW and Escape Blair Witch, it was called. And so I want to. I mean, obviously, I can only go into certain descriptions because it is an escape room. I'm not going to tell you how to solve certain puzzles. I'm just going to kind of go over the gist of it and why they really stand out from the escape room. So first of all, they're really listed as escape rooms, but they're also they also kind of really emphasize, if you look on their site, that they're also like an experience. So even if you do, it's not one of the typical escape rooms where if you don't solve it, and buzzer goes and they just come and get you out. No, what they'll do, you will get to see the entire experience throughout. They don't really score you at the end or anything. So it's kind of almost imagine it's more like to me, it almost feels like an interactive haunt with escape room, quests in it. That makes sense.
Like the maybe kind of an expanded version of the Skeleton Key rooms at Scarowinds.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good description of it. Yeah, I mean, there are things that you have to do, and it's more of a fun thing to try and do it. But it really doesn't even if you lose out, it doesn't you don't feel like you've lost. We felt like everyone was raving about it. They had so much fun on it. My group of friends, and they like horror casually. One of my friends, Doug, he's big horror fan. I know that. But my other friends are just casual horror fans and everything. But they wanted to do this. They thought it was fun, so we all did it. And the funniest thing is, so this was they theme this. See, this is originally home of just the I think the SAW escape room, and they added the Blair Witch one to it. But so it's you show up there, and it was funny. We took the Uber to the address, and we got out. and it's literally like a meat packing plant. And I knew that it was. I'm like, come on, guys, it's probably over here. And they're like, he's like, wait a minute, no. He goes, this is like a meat. I said, you give the right address. I'm like, it's part of the theme. Trust me, it's all part of the theme.
Oh,
so
that's
the whole
cool.
yeah, so it really looks like you get dropped off in the middle of nowhere in Vegas. That looks like some weird old meatpacking plant. And there's this like security guard out there that kind of totally is like in themed character, and he's like checks you in, but he kind of stays in character at the same time. But not so much that he won't answer a question. Like I was like, oh, so we have another group, because we had to split because we wanted to make sure we got there in time, so we split the Ubers this time instead of waiting for a 6-person Uber, because there were 6 of us. So we split it. So I got there first in the first group, because I wanted to make sure I got everything scheduled. And so we got so the guy, I'm like, oh yeah, we got a couple Ubers. He goes, okay, just tell him to come in. So he got out of character. It's not like he stays in dead character for the whole thing, but so he was just a funny guy. So you go in there and you sign your waivers and everything, and there's actually a cool little room that has like, you can get like while you're waiting, you can get like food. There's some cool like things. I have some pictures I have to still post. I'll post on our social media. I posted one of them, but there's a couple of other ones I want to post, where there's like a pinball machine. You can get some pizza, some drinks, and like some cool like wax figure type of things, like stuff like that, some cool decorations and everything. So you hang out in there until you're ready to go in. So what it's funny what you do is like that, because you never know when, like, since the experiences kind of start outside, you never know what you're supposed to be paying attention to. Like I got all fixed on it. I'm like, me, I get into this. I'm like, okay, everything this guy is telling us right now, you got to remember everyone, because we were with a group. They added 3 people to our group that we didn't know, because SAW can fit 10 people, Blair Witch can fit 8.
Okay.
So we had 2 people added us to the Blair Witch that we didn't know, and 3 for SAW. I guess they couldn't get a 4th, but so but they were like just a cool group. As a guy and 2 girls, and they were so awesome. Like they really got into it. Like it was like we all knew each other by the time we got in there, and so it's really fun. So the SAW one is picture like SAW is like a legit thing. You're supposed to be touring the meat factory kind of after hours kind of a tour. But now what this does is there are people in there like that have, there's some actors that appear, I will say, that may help you. They may not help you. And it's just that there's a lot of interactive things in there that you would not do. And I don't want to give any specifics away because I don't want to spoil anything, but they're just, let's say, put yourself into it. Don't think of yourself in an escape room. Picture yourself like put into that real situation and make those decisions. Because there's definitely some things in there that would like I would have never thought in a typical escape room would be the way to do it. But in this, since it's a very experienced theme, so I'm gonna like just and they tell you what, like they'll say like, okay, if it's this is this, it's not. Don't try and pull it off or break it or anything.
Right,
it's not.
yeah.
But they give you kind of those kind of instructions, like an escape room. But they they tell you what kind of what your goal is. I will say if you have you go in a group and there's a friend you like to kind of tease or anything, there is going to be an element in there where you can kind of single them out for something that's really funny. So, but yeah, and I will say this thing involves, and it says it on the site, and they are not kidding. This involves all sorts of things. I wouldn't wear anything nice because sometimes you have to crawl on the ground.
Oh,
There's
that's
things
cool.
you have to go. Yeah, you're leaning up against. You could be rubbing against something. There's darkness. There's strobe lights. There's smoke. There's even the Blair Witch one has way more effects to it than the SAW one. But so basically, the SAW one is like it is a typical thing. You're trying to get through this thing. Your guide is missing, and you're trying to get through there. And Jigsaw is, of course, playing around with you throughout the whole thing. So my group liked SAW better. And everything I read said Blair Witch was better. And the main difference is, I think, so the Blair Witch puzzles are much more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
I will say there's one that we didn't solve, but they let us, we got through the next thing anyway. And when I asked them at the end, I said, so let me ask you a question here. What did we miss in that? And he goes, you guys were close, but here's what happened. And he said it to us. And I'm like, oh my God, I never in a million years would have ever thought to do it that way. I never would have thought. But didn't matter. We got through almost everything else through there. And the Blair Witch one, oh my God. I was the one, I was all into it. I'm like, I'll crawl. I don't mind. There was one part you had to, literally, I was in, I had to crawl into its space and was in there for a good like 10 minutes doing something while some other people were helping. It's very group oriented. Like there are times when one person has to do something. You can't just sit around. Like other people have to be doing things all together. It is truly a team thing for both rooms. But I think over even more so Blair Witch. And Blair Witch has a lot of back and forth. So most escape rooms, you move on to the next room. No, this year, sometimes going back and forth and back and forth. And you got to remember what you did here to figure it out there. And there are also in both rooms, I will tell you, Tim, I will warn you now, there are jump scares.
Oh, man, really?
So there's even jump scares. So that's where the haunt part really comes in. And the effects are like haunt level. Like that's, I mean, they're that good. A lot of loud sound effects, a lot of really cool special effects and fog and lights and loud sounds. And there's times I've even jumped because like of a sound that came out. But yeah, and the Blair Witch one is similar too. You're taking a walk through the Burkittsville forest. And same kind of slight premise. You're the person that was supposed to guide you through is missing, kind of a thing. But he's really not that important to the storyline. And storyline is just to try and get through and survive. And I'll tell you though, I mean, both things. I mean, we did back to back with like about a half-hour break. But I'll tell you, I couldn't even recommend one over the other. I feel like you have to do both. And since they have the combo package for $70 to do both, that's the one I'd recommend. Because I both were so much fun. Like it was really like, this is what I think like there should be more of these types of things. Like totally these type of like escape room experiences. Because don't get me wrong, now you and I have done escape room together, and it's fun. I love escape rooms, regular escape rooms. But if you add the haunt element, which they kind of did, and then like you said, like that skeleton key with that bonus interaction, it was great. And I will want to shout out two of our because there are, like I said, there are actors and actresses in there. The SAW, we had someone, I'm going to shout her out. Her name was Lily. That's not her character's name. She has a character. They each have their character names, but it was Lily for SAW. And I hope I get this right, but it's Lyric for Blair Witch was the guy's name. So that's what's kind of fun because you can use the characters in there. Like, they're not going to flat out tell you what to do, but if you ask them stuff, if you kind of, or if they're in a certain spot, sometimes they're doing something that if you got to pay attention to, that they could be tipping you off.
Oh, that's cool.
It's like I mean, I cannot recommend, if you're a horror fan, you have to do these when you're in Vegas. You have to, because you will get so much out of it. More so, I mean, even more so than the average person going to just do an escape room experience. Because you're a fan of SAW and you're a fan of Blair Witch, you're into it. And to see what they've done with this, it's just so incredible. So I definitely highly, highly recommend those things. And I'll post some more pictures in there because there's a great gift shop in there with like, you can get the full SAW masks. Like there's like my friend put on a John Kramer mask and it was the freakiest thing ever because he's like kind of like he's like about a little bit shorter than me, but he's very big and big muscular guy. So it's look kind of funny to wear that mask in there. But they also have that the pig mask. They have a lot of cool merch you can buy. Some cool souvenirs, and just the group, the group running it there, you could tell is like really like just an awesome group. They totally know. I don't know how they reset these rooms because this is not your typical escape room. There are some like weird locks and weird stuff that I've never encountered in an escape room before, and some of them are like really hard. I mean, there are the standard ones that you'll get used to, that you've seen in escape rooms, but there were also some levels of stuff that I'm like, wow, I can't believe, how did they do this, or how did they think of this kind of a clue to figure out to do this? But yeah, Tim, if you ever hit Vegas, you don't even question yourself. Just buy the twofer and go to both of them and do back to back, and because it's such a fun thing. And I will say, I mean, I think I don't know if there's an age limit. I saw one family had some kids there. I think going into the SAW one, I think it's probably safe. Like it's no different than like I mean it's probably less intense though still than like some of those the Halloween Horror Nights haunts. Like I think your kids would be able to handle it because they'd be having fun trying to do stuff that they wouldn't really be scared.
Yeah,
like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, occasionally a jump scare here or there, but I think they'd be so into the cool stuff they get to do that any kind of, any kind of scare factor is probably much lessened. I mean, yes, like loud noises or fog or smoke, you may get a little bit so, and, if you're claustrophobic, you may want to ask some questions first, because not everyone has to do those really tight things. Like, there's never an area where you're forced to do anything tight. Someone in your group will have to do it, but not everybody has to do it.
Yeah.
So that's where it differs from a haunt, where you're not like forced to go there. You could have a very hands-off approach and kind of look. There's like each room, each kind of puzzle has like a very basic element to it, as well as a complicated element, kind of. So it definitely can be a great family experience. Like, yeah, I think you, Olivia, and the kids would be fine in this thing. You'd have a ball, probably.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Yeah.
But so definitely check that out. It's like I said, you can go and just look up, just Google like Blair Witch or SAW Escape Room Vegas. They both, and the site comes up for both of them. It's the same thing, and you can even get a private party if you want, or you can get they have like special like little events. But I personally, right now, if you're going anytime soon, I would take advantage of the $69. I think it comes to like $74 with tax and everything for both rooms, and that's not bad, because escape rooms usually run you like $40.
Yeah, they're just like on minimum $30, and that's for like a bare bones plain.
Yeah, for a bare one room.
Yeah.
This one, you're like multiple rooms, multiple sets. Like, this is like if this was just you just walk through it as a haunt, you'd be happy. So just imagine you add all the interactivity to it, and that's what you get. So
nice.
Yeah, I mean, I think I did. I hope it didn't like oversell it or undersell it, but it's hard. I had to walk that line because I can't give away specific clues. That blew me away, because I want someone to go in surprised.
Yeah.
So hopefully, I mean, as you you don't think I spoiled anything for you, right?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I was going to give a little preview of my upcoming trip. I'm going to GenCon. This is my third trip to GenCon, which is the big board game convention, biggest board game convention in the U.S. It's in Indianapolis every year. We actually had tickets to go in 2020, and of course, COVID hit. We couldn't go. It got canceled, so they pushed it to 2021. Our tickets rolled over. We decided, no, we don't want to go back in 2021. I think they had it, but it was like really locked down. And we were like, no, we want to go back when it's more open. Well, turns out this year they're still requiring, which is not a bad thing. They're requiring vaccination cards, and they're requiring masks. So it's still going to be pretty...
That's pretty good that they're doing
Yeah.
that.
I mean, it's still pretty locked down, but at this point, I'm like, you know what? I kind of like it to be locked down like that, because, with the variants and stuff out, and then also, I think it'll help keep the crowds down a little bit. So we're going to go back, and this thing is... GenCon is huge if you've never been. I mean, it is like... Number one, they have like a huge vendor hall where all the game publishers show up with their games. They have tons of events going. I mean, literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of events going on. So you can sign up for like demos of games, learn how to play stuff. One of our favorite things to do is something called the Hot Games Room. And basically I think it's like $2 for a 2-hour block of time that you reserve. And you go in this big like conference room, and they have like all the newest games from all the publishers out on tables. And you just pick them up and play whatever you want. It's really, really fun. So we actually decided this year to we like blocked a ton of time in the Hot Games Room, because that's always our favorite event. So like Sunday, that's all we're doing. It's just Hot Games Room all day long. But I was gonna at least tell you guys about the horror games that I see while I'm there. Now, there's not a whole lot on the preview list. There's going to be a really cool Scooby-Doo game. It's not the Escape from the Haunted Mansion one that has already come out, which I own and have not played yet because my kids will not play it with me. I don't know why. This one is actually like a cooperative Scooby-Doo board game, sort of like Horrified, but it's Scooby-Doo. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that one. They're going to have a demo there. Zombicide is a great zombie game that I own. They are coming out with their Undead or Alive version, which is the Western-themed zombies, which I'm really looking forward to seeing. We got a new Legends of Sleepy Hollow game. I've seen this one. This is another cooperative.
Oh, cool.
This one has been threatened to come out for years. I mean, I first heard about this thing like when our first Gen Con we ever went to, and it had not come out. It finally was released this year. Definitely want to see that one. I think it's going to actually be out for sale. Dead by Daylight, the board game. I hope this one's better than our video game experience. That one's coming out. That's a demo. There's a new one called Harrow County, which is based off a great horror graphic novel series. Of course, the Thing board game. They're coming out with a new expansion. I mean, probably the biggest hype one is one called My Father's Work. So you remember the Abomination Era of Frankenstein game that we talked about that we picked up. This one is kind of similar. You're doing a kind of similar like Frankenstein mad scientist sort of thing. But this one has like an app on the iPad you used with the game to help you play it. So I don't know much about this one. I know it's been really, really heavily hyped. My Father's Work from Renegade Game Studios, a big publisher, so I'm looking forward to checking that one out. And so that's pretty much obviously Final Girl's going to be there. We've all kind of, we've talked about that one. I'm going to actually bring Brian a copy of Final Girl with me because Terry wants to see it. The guy I'm going with, he's one of our game group guys, and he's always wanted to check out Final Girl. We've never been able to get together. And I know it's a solo game, but he wants me to teach him how to play it, basically. So I'm just gonna throw that in the suitcase because it's so small, and so we'll have something to play like back at the hotel. We can kind of mess around with it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We're gonna be there from Thursday through Monday. So we're doing the whole weekend, coming back Monday. Going to be a long trip, big trip. And this time we are lucky enough to be staying right downtown within a few blocks of the convention center. So we're going to be able to walk to the convention center, not have to rent a car and drive into the city or anything. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We'll be right there with all the action. And we'll try to take some videos, take a bunch of pictures, and I'll try to post them to keep an eye on our Twitter and on our Instagram page for pictures from that. And of course, we'll have a recap when I get back from that. So
yes, and hopefully you will get to meet our friend Becca Scott that we had on the show.
Becca Scott's going to be there.
A couple years ago. Hopefully you'll get to meet her in person, and she'll remember and tell her she still owes us a game of Waterdeep.
What did you used to call it? Lords of can't remember what you used to call it.
Oh, I butchered it.
Yeah, you butchered it.
She had it right. I had it wrong.
Yeah, you butchered it a bunch.
I was always like the something of Waterville or something. I don't know.
But it should be fun.
It was the Wizards of Waverly Place. I don't know.
Who
I
knows?
All over across the board. Yeah.
Also, the ET game. I was in Target the other day, and the ET game was on the shelf, and I was like, "Oh my god, I would have bought that right then and there."
Oh shoot, I gotta buy that.
But and I've heard really good reviews of it. But we've already signed up for a panel at GenCon to like the publisher's teaching you the game and everything. So I was like, I don't want to spoil it. Like, I don't want to look up videos of it. I don't want to play it. I don't want to buy it because that's one of our big things we're doing at GenCon is playing the ET game. So I'm trying to keep it as a surprise for that.
Yeah, one of these times I gotta go. I'm just gonna just crash your GenCon and go with
you. Should. It's so much fun, and even
I want to really get that'll be my real foray into gaming.
Yeah, I mean, if you went to one GenCon, you would be completely hooked.
I love just conventions and period, so it's like I'm sure I would enjoy.
Yeah, it's a ton of fun. So I'm looking forward to it. Not looking forward to being away from the family over another weekend, only because this past weekend was so brutal from work. But it should be a good time, and then we'll be before you know it, we'll be right into haunt season. So
yes, but hopefully, and like even though we're not going to Halloween Horror Nights this year, Tim and I will hopefully be able to meet up and get to a haunt together, and we'll go to Busch Gardens Howler Scream, which we've done before together, and we had a blast. So hopefully we I mean, if you can't I feel like if I can't get to Horror Nights, like that's like not a horrible replacement by any means.
No, and it's such a great park, and my kids have never been there, so that's
that's right. And we want you and I have not checked out Pantheon yet.
That's right. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. And Anna's art.
I wonder if you think you can get Anna and Josh on Verbolten.
Oh yeah, I've already talked to them. Like, I don't know about Joshua. He's probably a little more skittish, but Anna's already.
I mean, because it's very similar to the Harry Potter ride, which they.
But Anna's already said she's riding everything. Like, she's ready to go.
Really?
Yeah, she's ready to go.
Everything.
Yeah, she's ready. She's ready.
So like Polish Chariot
everything.
and Alpine.
Wow. She's ready to go.
That is something from last year.
Yeah, I mean, she's grown like immensely in a year. Like, she's completely.
I tell her I'm holding her to that.
So we'll see when the chips, or chips on the table when she's actually staring up at it. Is she going to still ride it? But for right now, she's being brave.
I know she hasn't really done any like looping coasters, so I would never hold it against her if she's not ready for that yet. But now she should at least, what she should go on for sure that I bet you she'll love is Invader. That one she'll probably.
Well, I already told the kids. I was like, if there's one coaster you're going to ride there, it's Invader, because I think you guys will love it, and I know they will. They.
Oh yeah, because it's such a great like like family wooden coaster. You know, it's got thrills for the like our age. And like, I mean, remember we marathoned that thing with Coaster Radio.
And it's got a great first drop. I think it's got a great little first drop.
Yeah. No, it's a great little ride, and it's like not intimidating by any means, you know. And of course, just Busch Gardens is great to walk around anyway.
Yeah, it's a beautiful park.
So it's just a fun park to walk around, especially at night, and like and one of my all time one of the coasters that's just like so near and dear to my heart because it was one of the first like. And this shows you how things have changed. Like this was considered a massive, giant coaster when I was a kid. It was Loch Ness Monster. It's still near and dear to my heart. Julie and I got a Zen ride on it once, and at nighttime, oh my god, with the fog like from the other parts of the park just kind of going, that ride is legendary at night.
Yeah,
it is incredible, and there's just so many fun rides there. So
Howl-O-Scream has such a great atmosphere because the park's already beautiful, even when they're not having a themed event, but they do such a good job of creating atmosphere. And you have so many, like, the way Busch Gardens is laid out, it's like almost, it doesn't feel as open as a lot of other parks. Like it's very tight. And that makes like, so when you're in those themed areas, like the fog is really heavy and the lights and the music are going, like you feel closed in. It almost feels like a haunt itself. It's not like, you go to some other parks, like, Carowinds, for example, there's a lot of really wide open, flat spaces. And sometimes that atmosphere doesn't trickle all the way in. But Busch Gardens, with all those little winding pathways and the woods on either side and stuff, it's just, it's so good. It's really, really great.
Yeah. Well, especially that thing when you walk across, that one bridge that you walk across over there. And I remember, like, when we went together, we didn't get it, but you went with Ken later on. And then when I had went with Julie right before that, that bridge, they fill that bridge with fog, and you can just sense their scare actors on there, but you can't really see them. And then they kind of just appear, and it's really cool. And their haunts are pretty solid. They're definitely a way step above, like, your typical regional park.
Yeah.
They're a little drop below Universal, but they're still great.
Yeah.
Like I remember that one we did. Remember the outdoor one we did with the chainsaws was really good.
Yeah.
Because remember you didn't have an exact path. Remember you could just weave your way through those like trees they had set up.
Yeah, we had and Brian and I did not have an ideal experience because it rained the whole time, and they closed a lot of the like scare zones and stuff. But
I think we got through every haunt. We were the only ones.
Yeah.
You, me, and Kev, I think we're the only ones that got through all the haunts.
But then when me and Ken went, like it was.
Yeah, you got the taste of what Julie and I got like 2 weeks
It was insane. Yeah, it was great. So anyway, looking forward to that. We'll have more on that as we get closer and nail down a date. But so we will see back here next week, guys. And I promise we'll be back to our summer slaycation. We will resume with our Wolfman week. We'll be doing the entire Wolfman franchise, 4 movies, and then we will continue on after that. We'll see you soon.
Yeah.